Hey, citizens of the future, citizen of the future here, and I'm a researcher following the blockchain and DLT revolution. And today is a podcast on the value of economies and communities within the digital asset space. This is an interactive podcast, so if you guys look in the description below, you will see there are threads, educational blockchain threads that you can also follow along and research while you're listening to the podcast. So I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you get anything out of this. Cheers.
Welcome, everyone. And I'd like to just take the time to thank you all for taking the time to come in and join us to our second space. Since we got a lot of love in our first one, we've decided to make this a weekly thing. And since we talked about the infrastructure and regulations going on, we decided we'll be talking about the utility of these networks today and the value that these digital assets and these communities have behind them. So I'll hand the mic over to Citizens now, and he'll say whatever he has to say before we get started.
Perfect. Okay. Hey, can everyone? Yeah, everyone can hear me. Perfect. So welcome, citizens. I consider you all citizens of the future because what we're about to cover today is topics of the future. Topics that, mainstream media is ignoring, that, they don't talk about the utility behind blockchain. What is it revolutionizing? What is it doing? And they talk about the mainstream hype stuff, Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then that's it. They don't go any deeper than that. So we're going to dive in deep depths of the internet. We're going to cover some topics that it might confuse some people, but it's always a start. When you get these seeds of information, you can either research it or you could talk about it, you could learn. So none of this, so I'm going to start off with a disclaimer, none of this is financial advice. This is just research and just ideas from what we've learned and what we've studied. And so take everything as something that you can research on your own to learn and verify. We don't go over prices. We don't talk about prices. We just talk about fundamental utility of the technology. So cheers to all you guys. I consider you all citizens of the future as we're here talking about invisible networks that people from the mainstream have no idea even exist, or they don't even realize that they can move value for a fraction of a cent and settle in 4 seconds compared to the legacy banking system. So we're going to get started. And Token, you want to start off with the first topic here? No? Okay, well. So the first topic today, guys, we're going to talk about what is the utility behind these networks that make them thrive and survive? What do you want to look for when you're analyzing a utility blockchain DLT network?
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to start it off, but I realized my mic was muted.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be talking about what utility do these networks provide and what allows these networks to survive, which is the utility behind them and what real world use cases there are. Because you can make a network, but if it doesn't have any real use case to it, in the end, it really doesn't have a value on it.
Exactly. And you can get these networks where they're saying, oh, we're going to pay you 1,000% APY if you invest in our network. They blow up all these smoke. They say, oh, we're going to build the next Ethereum. We're saying all this stuff and we're hyping you up. It's all hype, but there's no actual use case because they don't have a working product, or it's, they're taking in percentage gains from other people and paying you off until the pyramid scam ends, right? So use case is a very important topic that we're going to get into. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Greg. Greg, I was part of your Quant talk the other day, and yeah, he's got some good information. So I'm going to invite him up to speak too, because he knows about utility, because I'm going to bring him up here because that's one of the topics we're going to cover today. So go on, Token.
All right, yeah. So where did you want to first get started off with utility? Did you want to cover maybe a specific network, or just kind of these networks that actually have utility, such as Quant, Constellation, XDC?
Yeah. So let's talk. So utility of networks. So for example, Quant provides a service called Overledger, their OS, their operating system application, which allows you to have interoperability between separated DLT networks. So as everyone knows, you can't send Bitcoin to an Ethereum address. You can't send Ethereum to an XRP address. It doesn't work like that. It has to stay within the network. And while Quant is technology agnostic, and it allows you to move value between different layers of different networks. And that's a huge utility use case of a blockchain network. It's just one example. Token, do you want to cover anything else?
Yeah, I guess I could just add on to the value of Quant. So what Quant brings is the whole universal interoperability aspects of being able to connect all our world's legacy systems into this new space of blockchain and distributed ledgers. So where people see value in that is when as people are beginning to realize that distributed ledgers are going to be a part of our future economies, we need a way to allow all these separate siloed networks to speak, just like how on the internet we're able to access any site across the world thanks to interoperability. Well, Quant is aiming to be the next stage of this for this new layer of the internet that we call
the regulated internet of value. So we're now having so everyone knows what the internet of information is. That's what we are currently using today. And if you didn't know, the internet of information has always had problems sending money because HTTP is hackable. It's moving value on it was never good. But with the internet, with the regulated internet of value, that is the conception where you can move value like you move data today, like an email. So it's the evolution, it's the next level to the internet. So we're now going from the internet of information to the internet of value, where you can move value for fractions of a cent. And one day that's going to be all systems in the globe are going to be able to move value flawlessly and cheaply through tokenization.
Yeah, exactly. So digitization, I guess you could say, was the first part of the Internet of Information, bringing information digitally into our hands that can be accessed any place across the world. Tokenization is, I guess you could say, step 2 of that, where we're putting digital value on these assets that we never could have imagined to be traded and accessed, like the ownership of it accessed on a blockchain. So think like 20, 30 years ago, if someone were to tell you you'd be able to check the ownership and fractionalize the ownership of, let's say, a house, that would have seemed crazy 20, 30 years ago. But now with this technology, we're truly able to split the ownership of any asset, think houses, cars, whatever, into little fractions that allow for economic inclusion no matter where you are in the world, no matter what your financial status is.
Yeah, great points. And another good thing about a use case is when you're looking at a network and you're analyzing a DLT or a blockchain, you want to look at the traditional connections. How does it work with traditional finance? You can go pick this random DeFi network, and if it doesn't interoperate with traditional finance, one day when regulations come into play, that has a huge chance of dying off, because if it doesn't have these regulated connections with trade finance, with banking, with companies around the globe that are utilizing it, there's a huge risk that when regulations come in play, they regulate exchanges and the liquidity to these networks just dies off because you can't get, maybe that's too deep, I don't know, but I wanted to explain that every DLT asset that you're involved in should have traditional connections.
No, that was a really good point, just because as disruptive and innovative as we keep preaching this technology is, and I fully believe it is, it doesn't matter how disruptive it is. We're not going to just throw away all these decades of hard work and capital where we spent building these legacy systems on. Yes, at the moment they kind of suck. We shouldn't have to spend, I don't know, a whole week waiting for a cross-border transfer. But at the end of the day, we've spent so much time building out these legacy systems. We can't just toss them out and be like, all right, we're going to start over new in this distributed ledger space. they're going to need to find a way to bring those legacy technologies into this new space of distributed ledgers. And I personally believe Quant will be what does that through their universal interoperability system, Overledger.
Yeah, exactly. Now, for everyone here in this space, I just shared an image that I created to show you guys what interoperability really looks like. So if you go to the Twitter space there and click that image, it will show you that Quant will allow you. So say if you're on the Ethereum network, if you're on the Bitcoin network, you can transact value flawlessly between two separate networks without having to do anything on the front end. So customers don't even know what network they're using, but that picture shows how powerful Quant is. I like to say it is the neurons to the brain of the regulated market 4.0. And because of how they tie in with, they have a lot of great team players. If you go through their LinkedIn, you look at Gilbert Verdian, you look at some of the team members on there, they come from high positions and places of power, and they're building something great for interoperability for traditional finance. Because now the one main thing about Quant that I like to talk about is in traditional finance, you have banks all over the world that have broken and fragmented systems. Some of these banks have systems from 1990s that haven't been updated in years, and it's just barely running. And there's no technology improved. Like it's really scary and sad. It's funny. But what Overledger is a legacy bank can literally type 3 codes in whatever computer they have. Even if the computers are 10 years old, they put 3 lines of code and it will open up Overledger, which will allow them to select how they want to send value between what networks. Like if they want to send a Ripple payment, if they want to send Bitcoin, if they want to transact value between Hyperledger or R3, it's all possible with the 3 lines of code, and that's all it takes. So check out that thread. I put together some information that you guys can deep dive, take a look at, and that is a good example that has real world utility that I like to use.
Yeah, Quant's definitely one of the few networks out there that are seeing utility and adoption from not just your regular retail clients. Like you could argue, say, Ethereum's OpenSea NFT is, I guess, provides utility for retail clients. But at the end of the day, true utility lies in technology that will change how we go about our daily lives and the way our economy flows. And let's be honest, trading pictures of monkeys isn't going to benefit our economy all that much. With what Quant is doing, they're allowing not just banks, but also the healthcare industry is one of the most, I guess you could say, valuable industries where patient healthcare data is the most valuable on the dark web, because if your banking info gets hacked, you can change all that at a bank. You can't change your DNA if that shit gets hacked. So what Quant is doing is allowing interoperability between the healthcare systems, because if you've traveled anywhere and needed medical assistance, you would know just how tedious that process is.
Yeah, good points. Because yeah, like it's hilarious when you travel somewhere and you have no access to your files, like your health files, and they're trying to assess what the hell's going on with your health, but they can't. And here in Canada, like you can't request, hey, can you send me my health records and that, because it's a process to get secure information, because that's where security comes in, and then that's where we're seeing these secure data pipelines. We're seeing tokenization, where if you attach a file to a blockchain and you can send that securely to the other end without it being hacked in between or whatever.
Yeah, no, totally. And just to add to this, it's pretty ironic that we call this whole space the Internet of Information, to where it takes so long to even gather your healthcare information across borders, or banking information across borders again.
Well, yeah, with all the siloed systems, because systems, all like companies all over the world have different systems, and that's why interoperability is a huge issue. Interoperability is one of the biggest issues in the world, because you have siloed systems. You have systems all over the world, whether it's in India, Canada, US, Singapore. Them talking to each other is fragmented, and then that's why I think Quant is a huge solution for interoperability. And Interledger. Interledger was another good one for interoperability, and that's involving with XRP and Ripple.
Definitely. Like, until you actually, I guess, dive into this space and understand the stuff, you don't understand just how essential interoperability is for just general technology. Like, to have a fully globalized world where we're all interconnected, that's where interoperability lies at the core of all that.
Yeah. So, does anyone, now maybe we should just take a couple of quick questions here before we
let's do
move on. Yeah. So if anyone has a question or want to say something, you want to lay some facts on Quant interoperability, put your hand up, and yeah, feel free. Hey citizens, I just wanted to say, if you guys are getting something from this, like, comment, share, leave some feedback, let us know what you like and what you don't like so we can improve. Also, if you don't have a cold storage wallet yet and you hold digital assets, what are you doing? I put 2 discount links in the description to help get you guys a discount on Decent wallets where you save $50 on a 1-pack or $129 on a 2-pack. So check out those links below if you do not have a cold storage wallet and you need one. And cheers, guys. Enjoy the rest of the video. Oh, yeah, there we go. We got
a hand up.
Let's see. Sir Crypto came lot. Let's see. Hello, can you hear you?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Hey, how's it going,
you guys
man?
hear me? Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
So I just
Welcome.
really appreciate the space again. Like these are awesome talks, super valuable. I think like I definitely went down the quant like rabbit hole, and I was really trying to wrap my head around its relationship between things like a layer 0 like Constellation, and seeing how like which is the true, or not even the true, like king of the whole thing. But I just noticed how impressive kind of Constellation's way of going about their technology, in which it's so subatomic that they can provide that interoperability. And I was just wondering how, like, if Quant is funneling a lot of their traffic through a layer like Constellation to handle a lot of that flow. And then I was just kind of like wondering about the whole ODAP protocol that they're working on with MIT and how that works in relation to things like Constellation.
Okay, let's see here. So, Open Digital Asset Protocol. I gotta find my notes somewhere in my computer because I got so much information between so many different networks. So let me get back to you on that. But so DAG can they can clean up the data sets. So they take in all this data and they can clean these data sets. So instead of all this big dirty data, you can funnel it down to what exactly they're looking for, and then you have your state channels. I'm trying to think, how can you compare? So Constellation is like the data protection layer. Quant is the interoperability layer to go between the networks, and having Overledger. So Quant's big thing is Overledger. So anyone that with a computer opens up Overledger with 3 lines of code, and then that allows them to interoperate between whatever network they want. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just so wondering, like, about, like, I wondered if like HGTP, like Constellation, like everything that was being piped from Quant was going to go through like a Constellation protocol and then loop back to Quant to like secure their little, like their network layer while they're doing all that interoperability between networks. If that makes sense, that's how I was just kind of.
I've read something about that where I think it was here. One sec, I gotta open up the mind map here. One sec.
Yeah, sorry if I'm not making any sense. Like, if
no, I know what you're saying, because that's from the paper, Quant and Constellation paper. I'm just pulling it up here.
Because that's why I became so bullish on DAG, because it was like, I'm like, wow, like it's so abstract and they can validate any type of just information, and that's where I was like so mind blown.
Yeah, so that's from the. Did you read the white paper called "An Internet for Automation with IoT and Edge Devices" with the Quant Network and Constellation Network?
Yeah, I saw that, and then I was trying to wrap my head around their whole ODAP, and I was wondering if ODAP was gonna wrapping around the HTTP protocol. And I'm so sorry if this is like too kind of like
I don't have
granular.
A clear answer. I don't have a clear answer for that to give you something, Grace. So, but I can look into it later on and then give you a message or something if I can think of something.
Totally. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Well, yeah, no problem, man. I appreciate you coming up, and I think we'll go to the next question here on Hozu.
Yep. Hey, Hozu.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me up.
Hey.
How about you?
Yeah, welcome.
Doing good. My first time I'd ever seen you guys, but I saw the space up and took a quick look at the profiles before I jumped in. But
hell yeah. What'd you think?
Oh, no, it looks like great stuff. Great stuff. Big utility guy. Ever since I started looking into crypto and not just investing, right, but trying to understand what it means for the future. So I like what I saw, what you guys put up. I actually have a little bit of a question. So,
sure, we could try and have an answer.
Yeah, perfect. So I'm meeting with the congresswoman here in the state of Texas. It's pretty cool how that opportunity came about. We did the whole John Deaton email our senators and Congress people, and just followed up and tried to get a meeting just to discuss what we can do, how we can help to achieve clarity and regulation as far as cryptocurrency goes in the US, because it's very ambiguous.
Yeah.
So we're
damn right, man.
Thank you. Yeah, we're just fortunate enough, lucky enough, whatever you want to call it, to be able to get that meeting. So we're meeting with her this week. And, we have a very limited amount of time with her, but she seems enthusiastic and eager to learn. From what we gather, she just kind of wants us to teach her a little bit about cryptocurrency because she doesn't know very much. So we have to do a lot in a limited amount of time, kind of gauge what she's really looking for, as well as educate her on just like the basics of crypto. And given the fact that it's a limited amount of time, just so hard to do, because I spent, hundreds of hours on YouTube and on the internet and in Twitter spaces and wherever, just gathering information every single day. And I have to condense that. I do want to promote the education and the importance of cryptocurrency. I do want to touch on how it's going to affect institutions as well as retail. And I was just wondering if you guys had a little bit of time with a state representative or a congressperson, what would be something that you would think would be absolutely necessary to impart on them?
Personally, I think if I were in your shoes, I think what I would do is find all the flaws you can in our current legacy system that blockchain and distributed ledgers do solve, and present all that and say, hey, so while some of you guys are still skeptical on this space, here's some of the solutions that this space brings that it can solve that our current legacy system is having a lot of trouble with, whether that be faster or instant settlements or more economic inclusion. Like there's a lot of things I'm sure that I haven't listed that you can probably think of, but also just showing that. So a lot of times when these senators think of cryptocurrencies, they only look at these as alternative currencies that aren't the US dollar. Well, I would personally bring in a lot of utility-based tokens and ones that are more community-centric rather than like alternative currency, because as we know, this space has evolved so much from just cryptocurrencies. We're looking at these like crypto assets, digital assets now, where they're not quite forms of payment, but more so a fractionalized piece of that underlying network.
Yeah, good points. If I had, dude, that's really, I just want to say that's really awesome that you have a chance to try and make a difference with a senator. That's sweet. So I just shared, everyone here that's listening, I just shared 2 threads that I create. Well, one thread that I created there before there, and it's a beginner's guide to understanding the difference between the terms cryptocurrency and blockchain. So what I would explain to a senator is I'd be like, look, you've got to look past the mainstream hype of cryptocurrencies, because there's a difference between cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology. Blockchain technology is actually the term used in the industry for the evolution of like what technology is actually changing industries worldwide. So if she looks past, you know, the mainstream hype tokens and looking at it as a cryptocurrency, and you say, hey, there's actual use cases, and like in that thread there, that beginner's guide, if you go through it, I've laid it out. So it's like what industries are being evolutionized. And then I would also tell her is there are consensus mechanisms out there or that are carbon neutral, that don't use proof of work, that don't use this wasteful energy consumption. And another good thing is, say, digitalization of documents. So in trade finance, the trade finance industry right now is going through a revolution where documents, so 99% of trade documents globally are paper. And with paper is time consuming. There's no automation, there's no data points. So like on some of these bills of ladings and transfer records, there's like 200 pieces of information on there that they could be using. Like if it was a digital document, you can get like the bill lading number, the company number, you can get all companies involved, and you can take that, and when you have a digital document, a computer can read every piece on an invoice, and it can sift through that data. So say, for example, if everything was digitalized in documents in the global trade finance industry, you would have instant settlement. You wouldn't have these huge backlogs, because now you're going from having to verify a paper document to having to just scan a QR code, and then that would just literally pull up the document on a blockchain. And so yeah, it's and smart contracts. So I tell her, be like, these blockchains can be used in smart contracts which can be a flawless automated system compared to having somebody move paper hands, verify the paper, etc., etc. But and then I would talk about just like the correspondent banking system. Like I would say the one last thing, just to finish it off, is sending money using the cross-border wire transfer system. Say when I send money to my family, say you have a family in Africa or Japan, and say you're sending money there weekly. Well, you got to pay $50, and that money, that transfer, has to take 5 to 7 business days for it to settle. And everyone, there's a diagram that I just shared that shows you what the correspondent banking system looks like to send a wire transfer payment. And it's slow, and it's expensive, and it has these things called Nostro and Vostro accounts, and these are holding accounts. So the money that moves in these wire transfers has to sit in a Nostro or Vostro account, and that literally is a holding account to make sure that money doesn't get spent anywhere else. So that solves their double spend problem in the legacy banking system. But that holds, if you think of the bigger picture, if you think about the whole globe and how much trillions of dollars move between countries and that, and there's these Nostro accounts and Vostro accounts that hold trillions of dollars that aren't making any percentages. They're not making zero, they're making 0% interest just sitting there dormant. But if you had a real-time payment system where it was instant settlement on everything, money would be working 24/7. You wouldn't have dormant funds and a high fee system in the banking system if they moved to a real-time gross settlement on tokenized economies like a central bank digital currency. So I don't know if that answers some of the things. What did you think? Did you think that was decent points?
Yeah. No, I love the input. I do have there's a small team of us. It's 4 guys, but we do have like some sources from the World Economic Forum mentioning digital currencies and their influence into the whole financial system. I got some excerpts from ISO 20022, the messaging standard, and all of that. Like, there's plenty of places where that mentions that it's imperative that we try to learn and understand this technology. And like you said, was a good point, distinguishing cryptocurrency from the blockchain technology, right? Because it's something like like Ripple has patents and stuff for their technology, and definitely the payment system and the difference between sending something through MoneyGram or Western Union or whatever, and especially the fees and the time that it takes. We're in the borderland, right? So I'm in El Paso, Texas.
Sweet.
And this congresswoman, she's definitely like, pro helping out the border and stuff like that. So, and we have a lot of people that either have made their way across the border into the U.S. through Mexico or some other southern country. And we have people that come over every single day to work, and then they cross the border every day back and forth just to work and make money to provide money for their family.
Yeah, and make sure you bring up, like, stress the points of these poor families that, if they're making only a couple dollars a day and they need to send money to their families, well, when they're paying $50 per transaction, that's a huge part of their wage that's going just for a fee. But if you use XRP or you use some of these carbon neutral networks that interoperate with the ISO 222 standard, you got fee lists that it settle instantly. So I think that's, and then I just shared to everyone, if you haven't heard of ISO TC 307, it is another standard. So he mentioned the ISO 222. So, but the ISO TC 307 standard is a blockchain standard that was built from Gilbert Verdian. So they created that standard, and that is directly in relation with Quant. And I shared it. You can take a look in there, and it's something that 53 countries are currently working towards. And some people that are part of that committee is Microsoft, IBM, HSBC, and MIT, UK government, and it's a blockchain standard that they're working towards.
Yeah, we've got a couple other requested we've got one other requested speaker now.
Okay, sounds good. And I hope, Josu, I hope that helps, man. And thanks
best
for
of luck with that.
man.
And
if you need anything else, keep us posted, man. And check out my thread of threads, because I just post utility content on regulated markets, and I just use regulated documents that I can cite. And so anything in there, feel free to print off, take it to her, and be like, hey, check out the TFD initiative, because the TFD initiative uses a blockchain called XDC Network. And if you haven't looked into that, check out the TFD initiative. It's a bunch of huge banks, powerhouses that use a decentralized tokenized economy for settling trade invoices.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm going to keep scrolling through all that and take that information and continue to look through it. But
cheers.
I'll give this
sounds good, man. Best of luck.
Thank you,
good luck. Kill it. Represent America.
Thank you.
All right, Quamfi, we'll add you as a speaker.
Let's go, Quamfi. Let's get it hyped up. Let's hear it.
All right. What you got for us?
Can you hear us, Quamfi?
Hi, can you hear me? Oh, I see.
Yep.
Sorry for not speaking. I actually was just going to bring up TC 307. You beat me to the punch. I saw he brought up ISO 20022. That's what I figured.
Yeah.
But I guess I could just...
Great minds think alike. Great minds think
alike.
Yeah,
I actually think that standardization is probably going to be one of the biggest changing aspects. I think a lot more countries are going to get involved, and a lot more is going to be written. But I guess since he beat me to that, the question I would have, I know Quant is very focused financially with the world, enterprise-wise.
Yeah.
I was wondering if, I don't know if it would be like the community's approach for it, but like the entertainment side of the world. I feel like when metaverses become a real big thing, that the whole entertainment side of everything will be like digital and online. I feel like a lot of interoperability will be required pretty much between like metaverses and a lot of digital items and whatnot. I don't know. I feel like even with Coinbase's
100%.
NFT marketplace, I feel like making the NFTs interoperable between chains, so you don't have to like pay extreme gas fees and stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like Quant's the solution. I don't know. That's my question, pretty much. Would Quant be getting into things other than finance, pretty much?
Honestly, I absolutely think so. I don't know if that'd be quite as much as the team at Quant doing it. I think that would rely on other SME developers to bridge in these other like entertainment-based networks into the Overledger ecosystem, because you don't hear people saying like the Decentraland metaverse or anything. It's always the metaverse. So that would imply that there's only one metaverse, and obviously there's going to need to be interoperability for that. And Quant's Overledger just seems like the perfect solution for that, being a universally interoperable system where it doesn't matter what network or language you program that on. You can simply plug that into Overledger and they all connect together. So yeah, I definitely do think the whole, not just metaverse, but the whole even play to earn gaming industry will require more forms of interoperability that Quant will provide. Well, we're hoping Quant will provide, because a lot of interoperability issues we see today are some smaller ones, like where you can't play cross-platform games or anything, and those solutions should honestly be very easily solved.
Hopefully, Quant and Ultra partner up or something.
that would actually be a really cool partnership. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. Operating systems are really what I look into mainly.
Yeah.
And that's. But no, yeah. Thank you for answering the question. That was really my. I don't know what I was wondering more so. Like I know Quant has the finance world grabbed by the hands, but I wanted to know, like, will the community be the responsible, or it will be up to the community to program basically all the entertainment side and all that.
Yeah, I definitely think it would be the community, because like I don't see the team building the bridges for because they're focused on the big head honchos, the big banks, the big institutions that need interoperability between different systems. And then, when you look at Quant's connections, they're focused around that. But then the developers will be building the bridges. So say if it was like Gala, if they need, like they're built, like Gala ecosystem is building bridges with other chains. And then, down the road, if they need to make a Quant interoperability bridge, then they can do that. And then they just got to build the bridge to make it happen.
All right. This is, I guess, more of an opinionated question. Do you think the community side will eventually be as important? Not important, but when it comes to value, it'll be matching the enterprise side of things, you'd say? Like,
I think that's a very
hard to answer question.
Very hard to answer. We'll have to see where it goes and everything. Like,
I don't know, all the money in the world's really like, on that side of the field, but I feel like it's gonna kind of, diverge into, I don't know how to explain it, but
no, I think I get what you're saying, and I think eventually if Overledger becomes as successful as many of us imagine it to, I think that will happen to where you'll see more, I guess, mainstream developers building out multi-chain applications on Overledger, just because eventually that's going to make sense. Why build an application on a single chain when you can build an application that can be accessed through any chain or any system?
All right, thank you, man. I don't want to waste any more of your time.
So no worries. Those were some good points.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, well,
while we were talking about Quant and bridging in other systems, citizens, would you say we move on to SDX?
Yeah, let's do it. So let's talk about next generation exchanges. How about that? Everyone like that topic? I think. Yeah, I see 100. I see 100. I see 100. Okay, let's do it. So
I
next
think that was
generation.
me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sounds good. Okay, well, let's get started. So everyone knows that, there's so many of these shit exchanges out there. Garbage, little exchanges. They have low liquidity, a lot of sketchy, you got Bitmart, you got all these ones getting hacked and these sketchy exchanges. Well, the next generation exchanges is, when we look at the bigger picture, well, what's going to happen to these crypto markets? Right now, we're still in a gray area, but one day we'll see regulations. And the only way that I can see them regulating crypto is through the on and off ramps. So regulating exchanges. So we will see a need for a regulated exchange like, LCX and Kraken. Kraken is the United States' first digital bank where they have to hold reserves 1-to-1. But the one thing that I wanted to bring up today is I just shared it in Twitter space here is Swiss Digital Asset Exchange. If you guys don't know who that is, it deserves some research because it is one of the biggest exchanges that's being built between Japan, Germany, Switzerland, and it's a cross-continental platform for digital assets, digitalized securities, derivatives, bonds. It's huge. So I just posted a picture. You could see that, and then if you click it, I'll just pull this up there. That post was made today below it. It says, don't forget to register to the digital money global markets and the coming revolution in cross-border settlement webinar. And then they tag Accenture, Quant Network, and Ripple. And they literally tag Quant and XRP. So SDX uses Quant's Overledger for interoperability. So that's huge. That's a huge partnership, and a lot of people are sleeping on it. So take the time, do a little bit of research. I'm suggesting into SDX because it's very interesting and seeing how this next generation ecosystem is being built. Do you want to say anything, Token?
Yeah, I'll just add on to really the importance of SDX behind, or just with everything you said. So this is pretty much the first, I guess, legitimate regulated digital exchange that's been built from a legacy financial system. So it's definitely something that we're going to want to be keeping an eye on. And especially with them tagging Ripple and Quant, that's definitely something to look at, knowing that these digital exchanges aren't, a lot of people are thinking, oh, why don't these governments just build their own crypto networks and stuff? Well, one, that is a lot of fucking work, but a lot of work and money, but two, it takes away from the whole globalized community aspect of it, since now we're back to where we started, which is just these centralized networks. So they're going to be working with these, I guess, more private sector crypto projects that's been built out. And that's really where the future value and utility of this space lies, because once they integrate all these regulated exchanges and stuff, they're probably not going to be listing shit like SafeMoon or Dogecoin or Shiba Inu on there. And they're going to be listing stuff that they understand is regulated and has utility.
Yeah, the ones that have connections, because once they regulate exchanges, look at LCX, for example. If you guys don't know who LCX is, check it out. It's a regulated exchange from Liechtenstein in Europe, and then they've also branched out to America. But the cool thing about LCX is they don't list Tether. I thought that was one of the coolest things, is that they don't list Tether stablecoin. And it just shows that because they got all their licenses, they got everything that they need. They got low liquidity. I'm not a big fan of the liquidity of LCX because of some of the trades. Sometimes there's a spread of a couple cents different than a liquid exchange, but they have low liquidity due to they claim that they have no wash trading. And so their user base is still building, and then that's a little bit about LCX as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. To add on to that, so being transparent, I personally do hold a little bag of LCX, but being honest, their exchange kind of sucks at the moment, just because it's still not quite as known as your big ones like a Kraken or a Binance. But eventually, once regulations kick in and time passes, institutions aren't going to be looking to trade on these unregulated exchanges where there could be potential money laundering and wash trading. They're going to want regulated ones where there's KYC to a certain extent. And LCX being one of those exchanges that's built literally for institutions to trade on is going to be huge in the future. And just to add on to that, they're actually pretty much the only crypto network that has ties to the World Economic Forum. So just take a moment and think about what that really means.
Yeah, the World Economic Forum recommends them for a fourth generation or fourth industrial revolution exchange. And they also have, I've seen LCX is also creating digitalized stock offerings, so STOs and digitalized bonds on their platform, so you can launch a security token offering. And so digitalization of assets is coming, and it's going to be launching on regulated exchanges. And one day they're going to tokenize the stocks that we're currently trading, like tokenize Tesla. I've seen Binance did it, but then they got shut down for doing it or whatever. But tokenizing Tesla stocks, Amazon stocks, where you're buying tokenized, fractionalized pieces of it.
Yeah, no. So the reason it got taken off of Binance is because you're essentially selling an unregistered security on there. Whereas what LCX is doing is they're not trying to jump through loopholes or anything. They've got 8 licenses already. So they're looking to tokenize assets in a regulated manner where us investors won't feel risk holding these tokenized security assets, knowing that they've been thoroughly regulated, and they're going to have sort of a trustless KYC platform to where they're going to make sure you're in the proper regulated jurisdiction before you can actually enter these exchanges. Not these exchanges, but certain products that these exchanges are going to be offering.
Are you underwater?
No,
you went underwater there.
My hand was on the mic. Fuck. All right. So while we're talking about exchanges, let's talk about some of DeFi too, because that space is definitely a bit of a mess at the moment. As much potential as that space has been showing over the past year, there's definitely a lot of, let's just say, lack of clarity on regulations in there, where once they kick in, it's very likely that some of these decentralized exchanges and lending protocols will inevitably get shut down just due to the lack of, I guess,
KYC and AML.
Yeah.
So if any of you guys are new and you don't know what KYC and AML is, so the problem with DeFi is, so KYC stands for Know Your Customer, and AML stands for Anti-Money Laundering. And these are protocols that banks have to do with ID checks to make sure that you're not a terrorist, you're not making money from schemes or in terrorist activities, etc., etc. So it's a big thing in the banking thing. And so that is how they're going to attack DeFi, is with KYC and AML. And then that's why I'm a big fan of Alliance Block, is because they're creating a regulated DeFi, because they got a KYC AML DeFi network that's interoperable with traditional finance. So if you're involved in a DeFi network that doesn't have ties to traditional finance, then you got to be ready, because when regulations do come out and they do shut down these shitcoin exchanges, then that is a risk that you're taking on. Because if they regulate stable coins and they regulate exchanges, then how are you going to sell your funds? How are you going to sell your DeFi tokens that don't have those connections? And then that's where the problems come in, when regulations come in play. And if you can't sell your stuff, then that's when the liquidity problems come in, and then that's when everything starts tanking.
Exactly. It doesn't matter how great of a digital asset you're holding. If you can't sell it.
Yeah, I see we got Dakota here.
Yeah.
Welcome, Dakota. Let's get him up here. This guy I follow him for his writing tips, and he has got great writing tips. It's helped me improve. So if you want to learn how to write better, check this guy out. Hey, Dakota.
What's up, motherfucker?
What's up?
I was just curious with the DeFi shit. So how would they shut down a decentralized exchange because it's decentralized? Would they just target the users, like choke points and shit?
So I don't think it necessarily gets shut down in that sense, but more so to where they can't be like how imagine how China is banning crypto overall in general is banning those websites from service providers allowing them, which while yes you can easily just avoid with a VPN, I don't think they're going to be allowing certain assets that are on those decentralized exchanges to, I guess, be sold on major regulated exchanges. So we could take Uniswap as an example. I don't quite think these exchanges will get absolutely just shut down and banned to where their headquarters closed down and everything. But I do think it's going to get to a point where they'll have to integrate some form of KYC and AML into their decentralized exchanges to continue operating in those certain jurisdictions.
And another thing, like, is, you know, I know like decentralized exchanges are going to be a hard thing for them to shut down. I'm not quite sure how they're going to get around it, but like, if they somehow regulate stable coins like Tether and USDC, and then that's where I think the problems would come in. But yeah, it's hard to say how they're going to get around it. It's going to be a fight for them, but yeah. I don't have a complete clear answer. Yeah, thanks for contributing.
That's good. Yeah.
Cheers. Anyone else have any questions or anything they want to say or facts or feel free. This is an open community discussion. We're just talking about anything utility.
Yeah, if you got anything to add, just hop right up here.
Okay, well.
Nope. All right.
Okay,
so
that's okay.
I guess we can.
I got you.
All right. Let's hear it.
Bank of Jamaica, my bad. They're coming out with their CBD this quarter. I think it's the first CBD to roll out, right?
Okay.
I believe they're in the TC 307 Act with Gilbert Verdian. I believe they're going to be on Overledger, honestly. I think it's like NDA or something, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious also, would we see that effect on like the supply? Like, I don't know how you would say. Like, would it show I don't want to get into the talk of price, but would it show it like diverge from speculation to you can tell it's being used?
I would personally say so, yes. If you have a digital network that's being utilized for the interoperability of a nation's digital currency, I would say that goes beyond the stage of speculation now to where it's in its early infancy stages of showing use cases around the world. Only this use case isn't so much of a retail-based one, but more one that's being utilized by a whole nation state, which should really emphasize that much more power onto it.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I feel like once utility really takes off, like these cycles that we have aren't going to exist. That it'll be basically based on how well the economy is doing, more so.
Well, and it's going to be like, we'll see, like once Overledger really turns on, we will see such a large volume of payment flows through the Quant network. Like, for example, the fact that there's only $2 billion in the whole Quant ecosystem is kind of a joke when you think of the bigger picture and how many trillions of dollars there actually are moving. But then once you start moving value between these networks on Overledger and Quant Network from all these, you know, we can easily see a couple $100 billion to a couple $100 trillion one day, like, you know, 10 years down the road. The amount of value that can move through there would be absolutely intense. And then that's when you see, because like Quant only has 14 million tokens, right? And then you have supply and demand. And when you have all, like, so if any of you guys don't know, Quant Network, they haven't disclosed the amount that I have seen yet, but for somebody to have a gateway which allows you to interoperate between these different DLT networks, that bank needs to hold an X amount of quant for licensing to have Overledger, and then that will cause a huge liquidity crisis. And there's only 14 million tokens that will ever be used or ever created in the Quant network. Supply will dry up super quick. So
I was going to say,
definitely.
The more tokens you have in your gateway, you can get more traffic, or like, isn't there like an incentive to have more tokens? Not just,
So you can stake additional quants onto your Overledger gateway, and basically what that does is allow more throughput for transactions to go through.
Gotcha. Yeah, so it's everyone's
going. As for the pricing behind it, last time I checked, it was $99 per gateway. Whether that's changed or not, I'm not too sure, but
I thought it was like 99 per like community, and then
I think it's $99 per gateway to run, and then you also got to pay that, like, pretty much to use Overledger, you're going to have to pay at least $99, whether you want to be a developer or just access multi-chain applications.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, so I seen Silverback. Did you have a question, Silverback? I seen you requested earlier, but then we got away talking there. Request again if you did, and then if not, I think we should go on to the next question because we only got a half an hour left here, guys. So let's just get on with rolling forward.
No more requests? If not, I guess we could. Do you want to continue a bit more onto the DeFi space, talking about, let's say, Lattice and Unison?
Yeah, we could do that quick, but let's let Silver ask his question, and then we'll get on. You could talk about Lattice Exchange, Lattice Launchpad, and yeah.
Hey guys.
Okay, Silverback, welcome.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
Oh, hey, great Twitter space you guys are putting together. I just wanted, I guess, to ask a question following up to Dakota. Will on and off ramps be regulated off of those decentralized exchanges to kind of, help with the KYC AML? That's kind of what following to what Dakota said. Also to earlier, Jesus, reaching out to the senator. I know there's a government blockchain association. It's a nonprofit organization. They have chapters all over the U.S. They have a good website out there. I think they're on Twitter as well. They have a lot of good info on how blockchain impacts governments, and also they do have a YouTube channel. They had a conference a couple of weeks back where they brought in different senators and municipalities, government type people talking about how they're working on working with blockchain, how they're trying to implement it via the city or county or state. So I thought I'll share that.
Sweet. Yeah, great points there. I haven't seen the government blockchain website, so that's I'll definitely look into that.
Yeah, I believe it's gbaglobal.org is the URL.
Oh, okay, sweet. Thanks, man. Now that's great contribution. So the thing about the exchange, the DeFi exchanges, I definitely could see. So I know they're going to regulate the main exchanges. That's how they would attack it. And then I'm not sure how they were going to get into regulate the DeFi, the decentralized exchanges, or how they're going to do that. Because we'll see how things go in these Congress hearings, and what actually gets what kind of bills go up and get taken down. Because I know there's a bunch of old people in the Congress that needs to retire, and we need to get some young people in there that actually have ambition and can understand these technologies. Because when I hear some of them, what they say, and it's like, wow, we need an update to the system. So go on, Token. Did you have anything to say? And if not, we'll move on.
No, I was just going to say that those were some really good points you brought up with It's not all governments that are shitting on this space. There's definitely some that are seeing the utility and more willing to adopt this space. But yeah, that's all I really had to add. I guess we could move on to part 2 of DeFi with Lattice Exchange and Unison now.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll start off with Lattice first. So what Lattice is it's a fully regulated decentralized exchange. So not like your classic Uniswaps or Pancake swaps where there's no KYC and you just connect your wallet and you can go. This one is going to have a KYC to where you need to register your identity to make sure you're in a jurisdiction that's valid to access these digital assets. But on top of that, what makes Lattice what I consider a next generation exchange is the fact that they're not just offering things that your, I guess, usual exchange would offer, trying to compete in this market, such as reduced trading fees or something. What they're doing is allowing, so for anyone who doesn't know what Hypergraph is, it's the network for Constellation Network, and Lattice is basically going to be the trademark exchange for that. So any project built on there is pretty much going to be getting support from their launch pads to successfully launch. And it's not just your average crypto projects on there. Like, they have something at the moment called the Door Traffic Miner, which I suggest you guys looking into a bit because it's one of the few crypto products out there that actually are a tangible product. And I think it's going to be stuff like this that really help drive up adoption in the long term. Having tangible products people can more easily understand than just these invisible networks. So yeah, Lattice Exchange, definitely one of the next generation exchanges that are more likely to thrive and survive after regulations kick in. And then the next one I wanted to bring up is Unison, which is a...
Yeah, wait. Before we go, I just want to quickly mention something about LTX there.
Yeah, sounds
good.
So
Lattice Exchange is built for the DAG ecosystem. If you guys haven't heard of Constellation DAG, do some research into it. But it's a launch pad for any chain that is built on Constellation DAG. So DAG is the index token for their whole ecosystem. And I just shared in there, I just shared in the space here, a raw information thread. So these are all pictures from my studies that you can go through, and it's all information on Constellation DAG, and it can show you how they're changing, like it's a feeless network, etc. But they could have layer 2s that are built on the DAG token, and when they launch, so Constellation only allows networks that have went through their processes to pass to make sure it's not just a pump and dump or a shit coin. It's actually a company that's actually building something of value, and that's what gets launched on the Lattice Launch pad. So it's a token incubator, or it's a token launch pad for the regulated network Constellation DAG that's partnered with the Department of Defense. So if you want to challenge your brain, check out that thread, do a couple hours of research on some of those things. There's references from papers, diagrams, videos, and then XX, you'll see his notes in there, and that will give you a gist of what Constellation Network niche is. Okay, so you can go on to ZCX.
All right, yeah, just thanks for adding those points about Lattice Exchange. Like, it's definitely one of the more prominent exchanges that I personally am betting to have a stronger future after regulations. But moving on, let's talk about Unison, ZCX, which is another one of these next generation exchanges. And what differs them from the rest of their competition is the fact that they're looking to go beyond just being an exchange to where they'll be offering an incubation system to where any business or entrepreneurs looking to further build their products and services in the space can go through their incubator system. And what makes their incubator system so attractive is the fact that their board of advisors is just absolutely next level. So we've got Gilbert Verdian up there, which Citizens gave us a whole rundown on of basically what he does. Founder of the ISO TC 307 standard, member of the Digital Pound Foundation, worked at the US Fed, won CISO of the year back in 2017. I'm not going to go on about Gilbert, but definitely take a look into him.
Yeah, I'll post a thing here. Just give me a second. I'll post it in the Twitter space of the write-up I did on him. So here, just give me a minute
sounds
while you
good.
do that.
But yeah, so Gilbert's one of their advisors, and then another one of their advisors, Ian Sobieski, he's worked at the Band of Angels for the past 25 years and actually still works there. So for anyone who doesn't know what the Band of Angels is, they're the first ever angel investing group out of Silicon Valley.
Sick, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, sorry about that. Besides just Ian, they've also got Rashid Ajaja of CEO of Alliance Block. So their advisory team is very high up there when it comes to having a strong personnel. So their incubator system is going to provide the support and mentorship from all those guys. But also they're going to be doing this obviously in a regulatory compliant way, to where it's not all VC funding, but more so a regulated public token sale. And what the other thing that makes the community aspects of Unison so unique is by participating in their ecosystem, you're actually rewarded with early access to these projects that they're incubating. So they've got some projects that are, they're still an earlier phase project than say your usual DeFi exchange, but they're trying to bring in projects that are providing real use cases. So one of them would be Dimitra, which is looking to bring blockchain and distributed ledgers into the agriculture industry to make the whole farming and growing crops process more understandable from a farmer's perspective, but to also increase the efficiency and productivity within that respective sector.
Yeah, especially because now if people think, so blockchain is more than just a cryptocurrency, right? So blockchain is the technology, and I know somebody wanted me to touch on it, is Internet of Things devices and how they interoperate. And I think this is a good thing to touch on for the farmers is because farmers have, if you're in a greenhouse or your crops, you have so much data that you can get for like when you water your crops, different devices analyzing the temperatures, sensors. So if you can picture in a greenhouse, the sensors detect 24/7 what temperature it has been for that crop to grow. And now when you implement a blockchain with these sensors and Internet of Things, you can track all this data and you can use it to make decisions on, hey, this crop, I just finished growing this crop, and you look at all the data that's been tracked on a blockchain from all these sensors. They keep track of all their information, and with all these sensors interoperating, you can go through this data and you can see how to analyze to make better decisions on, hey, this one didn't grow very well, why not? You look at all your information, and that is a good use case of like blockchain in agriculture and farmers. Yes, I think that's good before I go too deep.
Yeah, no, totally. Like, I guess it probably sounds weird to a lot of us hearing about blockchain disrupting the agriculture industry, because we're so used to hearing about technology and finance. Now we're like going back in time to the agriculture. But we've also got to remember that this isn't just an asset. It's a disruptive technology that's going to allow permanent tracking of records on just about anything in any industry within the economy. Because right now with servers and stuff, we can actually change the timestamps of stuff. Citizen, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just thought of something before I forget it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Because you said something about a digital twin or whatever, but it made me think is when these farmers, when they sell their crop or when their crop leaves or whatever, you want to make sure, like, you want to track these things in transit. Well, when this stuff's on a blockchain and each transfer, like, say, for example, you're a farmer and you're shipping your cocoa beans to the other side of the country or whatever. And if all those invoices, like in the supply chain, if you think about the supply chain side of things, instead of using paper, if you had an invoice attached to a blockchain At every moment, at every stop where your crop is changing hands, say it changes hands 5 times before it gets to the other side, but every time that somebody scans that QR code that's attached to the blockchain for that invoice and it changes hands, it's timestamped. So you now know exactly where your shipment is on its delivery because you have a digital twin that's time-stamped on the blockchain all the way through until that crop is in the other person, in the buyer's hands, and your money's in your hands. So I hope that is a clear picture that I can provide. But yes, but supply chain is going through a revolution from digitalization of documents compared to the paper form. I just wanted to clarify that again. Sorry.
No, yeah, good. Those were good points. This is basically going to bring real time and monitoring to another level. So if you thought the technology today brings real time insights, just wait till distributed ledgers really get implemented. But to add on to, I guess we were talking about DeFi and then moved on to distributed ledgers.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go from there?
So is there, I think, so we're getting to the last 15 minutes here, everyone. I guess the thing we could say is just to finish it off, and if there's any other questions that we can one-offs, is, I think we talked about, what makes a utility network survive. So, but like what creates value in an economy and communities, So I think we could finish off on that and then take some questions to anyone that wants to contribute or say some things.
Yeah, let's do that. Do you want to start it off?
Yeah, perfect. Okay, sounds good. So when we're looking at digital economies and communities, we want to look at like the value, like what is the application that network brings? What is the use case of the community and what value, like, because, there's so much tribalism. And that's one bad thing about economies. You get these communities, they get tribalistic, they don't really see the bigger picture of interoperability because it's not just one network in these digital markets that's going to succeed. It's going to be a select few network of networks, and they're all going to be able to interoperate value. So big things about economies is we want to look at developers, right? Like how many people are developing on this ecosystem? Does it provide a use case to the world? And if a digital asset community doesn't have a use case, well then it's really just a hype, pump and dump type scenario where you're stuck in like an echo chamber, I guess. I don't know. Is that? Do you want to add anything to that, or am I just going off on some random deep tangent?
All right, yeah. So, as Citizens was saying, these networks, they only really have real value to them if they provide a utility aspect that makes this world a better place or allows us to go about our daily lives more conveniently in a way. And a lot of these networks really aren't providing that at the moment. There's only a select handful that are. And I really believe that once regulations kick in, that a lot of these networks without utility are just going to see a lot of smart money leaving them and flowing into these networks that provide real utility. Because at the end of the day, whether you're an investor or someone that's a developer, you're going to want a network that is robust, but also provides what's needed for you to build real world scalable applications out onto. That's what's going to be valuable, not some network that's been super hyped up by mainstream media.
Exactly. That's the scary thing is, you get all these people, they're like, Dogecoin to the moon, but what value does it really bring other than just a hype ecosystem where, smart money bought their bags, a year ago, and now they're just dumping on it on the retail as exit liquidity. And, so it's where you got to make sure you're in communities that are actually doing stuff that aren't just hype-based, hype-driven, and take mad profits.
Yeah. All right. So we've got about 12 minutes left. Let's answer some questions. If anyone's got anything.
Okay, peeps, what do you guys got? What kind of things you want to talk about or contribute? If not, I'm going to share some deep stuff here. Okay, you guys don't believe there's a technology, fourth industrial revolution? So this guy here that's in this room, he's a really smart guy, and he does a lot of deep research into mapping out connections that is unseen to the naked eye. And I just shared it. So these are maps of different companies that are building central bank digital currencies. And if you haven't heard the term CBDC, that's a central bank digital currency, and it's a digital version of cash. And these are just some diagrams of some of the technology providers, some of the partnerships that he has mapped out. And I know some of the, because like sometimes we go down rabbit holes that are like, oh wow, I just spent 6 hours deep diving into this topic, and it's like, wow, connection to connection to connection. But just take a look at that. You probably won't understand it, but it's just showing different provinces in different parts of the world that are actually working on a digital version of currency for the public. And that means that, you know, the majority of people won't even know that they're using well, it's going to go through a digital banking app and stuff like that, but it's going to remove a lot of friction in the current system and a lot of fees. But yeah, it's funny, you know, mainstream media, I don't think here in Canada, I've never heard central bank digital currency in a mainstream media thing, and it's one of the largest technologies at the forefront of the Industrial Revolution, and they're not talking about it. Why aren't mainstream media talking about digitalization of the supply chain? Or, hey, the correspondent banking system's super expensive and broken. You know, they just scratched their surface dwellers, and here we are in a deep utility space talking about technologies at the powering the forefront of the Industrial Revolution. But yeah, follow that XX guy for some crazy mind maps of how digital asset connections pieced together in that. He's very well researched and cryptic. It's cryptic sometimes. Sometimes it's cryptic, and you got to think outside the box. But yeah, definitely some value in some of his mind maps.
Yeah, they're honestly some of the best mind maps I've seen in all of this whole crypto space. Just like XX does an amazing job at linking all these connections and really presenting them in a artistic way that is easily understandable, and major props to him for that, because I don't know how much time he spends digging, looking for these connections. But yeah, just make sure to check him out and look at some of these graphs to really understand what's going on behind the scenes, and to see what they're not. Don't listen to what they're saying, but look at what they're doing behind their backs, because they can shit on the space all they want, but if we really look at the facts, we can see that they're preparing for this next fourth industrial revolution. They're working with consortia like Hyperledger and stuff, looking for ways they won't fall behind in this digitization and tokenization of the world.
Yeah, exactly. So I just shared another one. There's one of XDC, there's one of Constellation in there, to give you guys a look of, you know, like, how does Quant and Constellation connect all these ISO 222 interoperable currencies? It's the interoperator. They call it the orchestrator. Yeah, so check out some of those mind maps. And does anyone have anything to say, contribute? What do you guys think of today's session? Was it too deep? Did we cover some topics that you liked, or does anyone want to contribute?
Yeah, any sort of feedback's welcome.
Tell me I suck if you want. That's okay too. I could take the beating.
Looks like we suck that much, hey? No one wants to say anything.
Come on, we're all just a bunch of anon characters here, guys. Anyone wanna? No. I got 100. I see laughing. I see everyone's mute. My microphone's broken.
Oh, so I just got. Is Montana in this chat? Yeah, so Montana's in this chat. I just saw he shared this with me. So just wanted to bring this up to everyone's attention. So many of you guys probably know of the Digital Pound Foundation, which we brought up earlier, is a project founded by Quant, Electronium, and Ripple, where they're looking to essentially tokenize the British pound, which will further take us into this new age of CBDCs. One thing to note that Montana just shared with us is the Digital Euro Association, which has partnered with not only Ripple, but also the Digital Pound Foundation. And just judging by the name, I'm sure you guys can tell, very similar mission in the tokenization of currency. So just wanted to point that out there, that something to look at. That's definitely another key connection with this whole tokenized currencies thing that's been happening over these past 2 years and will likely continue to only accelerate.
Yeah, I seen that. That's a really good contribution, because I seen that the other day. And,
we finally got a request from Hozu.
Hozu, let's see here.
Welcome back.
Add a speaker. Mike is on you.
Cool, guys. Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to say again, thanks for all the information shared, Silverback. Got your message. I've been looking into that. Just wanted to remind everybody, like I said, the reason I jumped in this space is I took a quick look at your profiles and saw that you guys were about utility, and that you understand that it's more than just investing and trying to make some money off some cryptocurrency tokens, right? Some dog tokens and whatnot. That there's so much more than that. And you guys have done your research. I mentioned the World Economic Forum, the ISO. There's so many standards. There's so many countries all over the world that for almost 100 years have been trying to develop the best way to do things. And that's where we're headed. When you see countries starting to try and make their own CBDCs, you gotta understand that they could make their own. They could use some of these businesses, these crypto companies that are in place right now with their technology. There could be a hybrid of all those. I don't believe that there's any one coin or token to rule them all. I believe that there is an Overledger, there's an Interledger, there's some of them have their own specialties that they're going for, whether it's like VE Chain and tracking your packages with Amazon and stuff like that, or whether it's retail money and retail or institutional money and a banking coin with XRP. So there's a lot to do. There's a lot of research. I'm definitely going to look through what you guys gave to me. I appreciate it, and I just want to encourage anybody else that's nervous or scared about all the information out there, just one day at a time. But do the research, especially if you're going to be putting your money into it and trying to get involved with any kind of crypto or any kind of asset.
Yeah, great points that you had there. Everyone, this is just a reminder. Boris will get to you up next here. But yeah, always do your research. Always know before you invest. And you know what? Don't feel like you're behind, because you're actually ahead if you're researching utility. If you're researching, if you're looking past the pump and dumps, the hype coins, mainstream media, you can go far. But it's a day at a time, and it's about learning stuff that's outside of your bubble. And that's how you get ahead, because this stuff isn't taught by the TV. You won't learn it from watching television. You won't. It literally takes just reading and trying to find education that you can reference, regulated documents. And if you go the regulated route, then you're learning ahead of the world. So thanks for those great points, Hozu. Really awesome. And I seen there was Rick. I seen you had your hand up earlier. Or
Rick and Boris, I think, wanted to add something. So if you guys still want to add something, just
put your hand up. We'll get you up here. Okay, well, that's
Rick?
okay.
Sorry about that. This technology stuff, it's a little bit over my head. No, man, I just wanted to, hey, Hozu, thanks a lot for, jumping in. I just want to let you guys know that he had a lot of phenomenal points with regards to that. One thing that I personally do is I don't really subscribe to, hearsay. I like to go directly to the institutions that are bringing the new, not necessarily the news itself. For example, any sort of news outlets, but like let's say that they say, oh, the World Economic Forum or the IMF or the BIS or the Bank of England or whatever. I like to go directly to those particular sources for those particular entities to be able to get the information firsthand rather than get secondhand information, and at least that way, I have validated for my own credibility and for my own sake that the information that they're putting out is true. Because the information, believe it or not, is out there. Back in the day, not necessarily a former conspiracy theorist. Now we're called conspiracy realists. But I used to be one of those guys that used to watch C-SPAN. They put the information out there, guys. Whether it's whatever law, whatever policy, whatever procedure, whatever attempt at anything, everything has to be documented. They leave cookie crumb trails for everybody to be able to find their way home. So definitely huge on making sure that the information that you gather is from a reliable source, preferably from the core itself. So.
Exactly, and I totally agree with you because I take all my I go straight to trade finance banking documents. I just shared a document on here. I think it should go up there. So if you guys haven't seen it, I did a video on it. It's an IMF document comparing the blockchain mechanisms for supervisors. That was strictly from the IMF, and this was on January 26th, 2022. And timestamps, it's I think an hour-long video or whatever, but it was a long document. But it literally shows how the narrative is changing because they're starting to attack proof of work for the energy consumption. And great points, Rick. I think those are great points on always go straight to the source. Don't just believe these, CoinDesk or these shitty little news outlets. You always want to find where it came from, verify. Because there's so much hopium and hype writers out there that create this hype stuff, but I'm always about straight facts, straight regulated facts, no hype.
All right, yeah. Those were really good points that both of you guys brought up too. So it is 6:01 right now, so maybe we'll just get one more point. Or
we'll get Boris there. I think it was Boris. He was up next there. So thanks for contributing, Rick. We really appreciate that.
Thanks for letting me. Thanks.
Cheers, man.
All right, Boris, what'd you got for us to close it off?
Well, actually, I just joined late, so I didn't want this to be outside of a theme. I just had a question about sort of Quant and Ripple in relation to each other. Is it appropriate to ask that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure citizens could answer that for you.
Okay. And by the way, Citizen, I thank you so much for all your research. I'm extremely grateful.
Right. Cheers, man. I'm glad you can utilize it because I plant those as seeds, and I just hope people use it to inspire themselves to research how deep this rabbit hole goes.
What you did with the breakdown of the consensus mechanisms and like you said, how they're attacking proof of work really opened my eyes. I'm very curious to see how this is separate from what I wanted to ask, but I'm just very curious to see how extreme that impact is going to be on Bitcoin because there's a lot of theories that it could just take it all the way down or won't affect it much. I'm curious to see how that plays out. But I was just wondering about Quant's Overledger and Ripple's Interledger and how they either compete or collaborate, or are they going to coexist? Is one going to beat the other? Kind of just the relationship between those. I know they're similar, but not exactly the same.
Yeah. So I like using both of them for those are both the two things that I talk about when it comes to interoperability. So they're both going to succeed in different niches. So the thing about Overledger is an operating system for banks. So Overledger's a UI, and Interledger is more of a back-end interoperability solution for payments. And so Interledger is partnered, if you guys don't know, I'm going to pull up the thread here, with Mojaloop. And Mojaloop is with it's a Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation sub-company. And they're reforming payments in Africa, and they've also creating CBDCs. So I'd say the big difference between the two is Overledger has a UI that any banks can use, and Interledger is more of a back-end payment settling interoperability thing if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. That helps. And so I guess Interledger is just like purely payments. Overledger is just like an overarching interoperability of value and data.
Yeah. There you go. Sounds good. Sounds like
Thanks.
You got it. Damn right. It's a good question. I really like that, and thanks for contributing and being appreciative, and keep researching, man. The hole is deep. Is there anyone else here? Anyone else that want to say something before we get off?
Hey, just one real quick thing. If you guys would please, I know crypto or fresh crypto is on here. So is Hozu, and I just want to give these guys props. If you can go onto their Twitter, because they've actually secured a meeting this Friday with the staff and executive directors for one of the Congress people for Texas, and they have an opportunity to be able to bring a ton of knowledge to somebody that may not necessarily be very knowledgeable with regards to how this impacts both politics and the community. So if you guys could go on there, they're putting out letters to John Deaton to maybe join for that particular meeting. If you guys would be kind enough to just retweet and the at John Deaton for that would be fantastic. It would definitely help them out, because I am pretty sure that any spaces that need to be filled with maybe more information or correcting any misinformation that may be shared, that would be I believe they want to get the most credible, accurate information out there without necessarily spreading any sort of financial advice, things of that sort. So if you guys would be kind enough to it's Fresh Crypto and Josue Aliano, and also Sean Estrada is on there as well. So if you guys could all retweet the requests to John Deaton, that would be phenomenal. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely be sure to take a look at that, give it a retweet, and share it, because at the end of the day, our goal is to have this space reach the global adoption that we're all hoping for and become successful. And what we need for that is obviously regulations. And I don't care what part of the space you come from. You can come from Dogecoin even, or Shiba Inu, or whatever the fuck, but at the end of the day, we're all this is all one space, and we're all fighting for the same thing. So, and that's the mass adoption and regulatory clarity. So we all need to do our own parts in sharing this. Is everyone muted? Can you guys hear me?
Oh, unmute. I guess I hit the button by accident. Sorry, everyone.
Okay, yeah. What I was saying was that we're all one single community. As divided as these networks are between Bitcoin, Ethereum, Quant, whatever, we should all have the same goal in mind, and that's having people understand this space, understanding the value, and realizing that it's not a fad. It's not some bullshit get rich quick scheme. I mean, yes, there's some protocols out there that do seem more so like that than a disruptive technology, but at the end of the day, we just got to remember that this tribalism shit isn't going to get us anywhere. We need to work as a team. There's enough people trying to go against us in the world of not only regulators but just retail already. We don't need any more, I guess, division in this space.
We're all the citizens here. Now, why I picked my name is because we got to be citizens. We're talking about future networks and how technology is evolving, and the citizens finally need to stick together. They actually, that's why I like sharing my research, is because it gives another person the opportunity to go and dive down a rabbit hole and figure out how to make money from decentralized networks, because anyone with a computer can access these decentralized networks. Anyone that has internet and a mobile phone can access these decentralized networks. So we're finally leveling the playing field from what only used to be accessible to accredited investors at the banks. We now, as citizens, have access to global liquidity pools that was only usually accessible to accredited investors, a part of the elite. And this is why it's a turning point where the internet of information is turning into an internet of value. And that's why I think it's important for the citizens to stick together and say, hey, support each other instead of divide, because how central bankers make all their money is dividing a population and causing a war. When there's a war and the population is split up, then that is how they can control. But when society sticks together and it's united, it is harder to divide and conquer. So yeah, I just wanted to say that and leave everyone with that, and then let Hozu or whatever speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are some great points to add. So we'll just finish this off with Rick and then Hozu, because I saw you put your hand up, and then yeah, we'll end it at that.
No, I won't take any time away from Hozu. So you got it, bud.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you, Rick, for saying that. I didn't know if it was appropriate for me to I pinned the tweet on my profile, so if anybody follows me, but I didn't know if it would be appropriate to pin it up here in the space. I know we're about to end anyways. But yeah, Citizen, you said it exactly right. Like I said, it's not about any one coin or token or anything like that. This is about, well, especially in the US, right? Like for us, just about unity and getting regulation and clarification. Because a lot of us, like I said earlier, have already jumped in. We're already in the middle of it, and we don't really know where it's going. It's all up in the air, right? It's up to all the powers that be, all the authorities in our cities, our states, our countries to decide how we can use it. If we can buy it, XRP got delisted. Can we even buy XRP anymore? What are we going to do with it? Right? They're in the middle of a lawsuit. But, it's up to us to work together to do what we can. If that's, going and voting, if that's reaching out to our Congress people, our state representatives, whoever it is, it really is up to all of us. And I'm nobody, right? Like I just sent some emails to some state representatives, and I got lucky. And there's a couple of us, Fresh, Sean, Rick. We're going up, and we don't really know what to expect, right? That's the whole reason I came into this space, to look for some help. And ever since I got involved in the crypto space, it's been the community that has helped me to learn. There's I'm not learning this at school, at university, whatever. I'm learning through YouTube, through Twitter Spaces, through guys like you who do your research and share it freely for anyone, right? We're just trying to educate and connect. That's all we're trying to do. So, thank you guys again for having me.
Yeah, man. And, it's really awesome to see that you took initiative and you actually reached out and just to do your part. Because if everyone does their part, and we're not like the XRP lawsuit is now at what 70,000 people, and I remember we joined back when there was like 10,000 people, and we got our name on there, and it's just crazy to see how things are being mishandled, because XRP is providing feeless payments where you can move $1 million for a fraction of a cent. And it's carbon neutral, that doesn't eat up energy. And it's up to us to actually put up a fight so that they don't just take the power of decentralized value away from the people. Because, who says it's right that they get to say what technology thrives and what technology doesn't, when it all has a use case that's removing friction from the world?
Yeah, no, totally. That was an amazing closing point, and I think we could just end it off at that. If anyone has anything else to add or anything, we'll be hosting these spaces weekly. Probably not every Wednesday, but we'll let you guys know. But if there's anything else you guys want us to talk about or discuss for our next and future spaces, just send us a DM, and we'll be more than happy to bring that up.
And this is all recorded. It will be uploaded on our YouTubes. It'll be uploaded on his Spotify. And, if you guys are interested in digital assets, we posts, our accounts are strictly made for digital assets and sharing information and just getting it out there, because, I find it hilarious that there's a technology revolution going on out there, and the mainstream media is silent. And I've had to learn for the last 4 years by myself. And I never, I use some people on Twitter here, and it points you in the right direction. But it takes research. It takes taking notes. It takes thinking outside your box. But it also takes looking at the bigger picture, look at the whole world as a whole, and think about how, research the correspondent banking system, research the fees, research the problems in industries, and then start looking at what are the solutions. And then that's how you start your desire to learn more, is because you found a problem and now you found the solutions. And then it's like, how do I use these solutions to be a passive income or to be an improvement in my life? Because once you see a problem and you see the solution, then you can take action to participate in the revolution. So I'll leave it off with that. So citizens of the future, citizens future out, tokenizer, that was a good chat. I hope everyone got something of value out of this. And so cheers everyone and have a great night.
Yeah, this will be uploaded again on both our YouTubes and Spotify's in the coming days, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Alrighty, thanks everyone for coming.